thoughts on taking on North Carolina?
Yeah, obviously very excited for another opportunity in league, as we're continuing for this push, at this time in our season. Obviously I had an opportunity to play North Carolina in Summer Cup as well. So being able to use, some ideas, some things that we felt went well during that time. And yeah, I think obviously a lot of what we've talked about last match, in reference to recapping it, I think a lot of people defined it within internally, and externally as grit, as resilient type of performance. And I think that momentum's just a bit different in the sense of, how we feel we are at and where we feel we're at mentally, as a group. I think we worked our butts off, towards the tail end of that game to close the game out. I thought the behaviors of the group, was fantastic when it got late in the game, taking it to the corners, wasting as much time as possible. I just thought the overall behavior and mentality, was fantastic. I'd also say, obviously, in the first half, I felt like we had really good moments as a group. I thought we had them throughout the second half, but more consistently the first half. So again, it's just continuing to push what we're able to do on the ball, and taking pride and priority on how we closed out the game. I think the big thing is how we closed out the game, and I think the group did a very good job. So just excited to build off of that momentum. I think the momentum's just different than what I've spoken about previously in previous matches. So it's a good different, that I'd like to applaud the group for, and obviously excitement to take on, a very respectable side this weekend.
Questions?
Fans talk a lot about your lack of success against North Carolina just in racing history. Is that something that ever carries over to the players? Something you feel like you have to kind of protect them against? Something you bring up, something you use?
No, I don't think it's a protection mechanism. I think it's more of an opportunity to fuel you. I think it's an opportunity to every match in this league. Everybody knows it. It's no secret. In my opinion, this is one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive league from top to bottom. It has been for several years, but even this year in specific, it's been highly competitive. So every game matters. So when you're looking at your record and you're going, we haven't beat these before, that's not what you're focused on. You're focused on where we're at in the season, the points that we need to take, the result that we need to get, and a performance that we need to put on. So I think the attention more so goes there than anything. Good question.
Bev, you talked recently about
Mhm.
you got to know where you're at in the table.
Yes.
You can't let that dictate your attitude,
Yes.
mentality. Do you see that clicking a little bit with this group now, just kind of focusing on yourself as opposed to worrying about any of that?
Yeah, and I think the idea is that we're not hiding from reality. Reality is reality. But I think what we're doing is taking our job just like anybody else would in their normal world take those jobs is day by day, opportunity by opportunity. And I think the group's doing a fantastic job at just putting in the work and understanding that it is game by game. So any attention that we can spend now and not worry about what the rest of the table does, worry about what we're doing, how to get success and how to get a result on the weekend has to be step by step. You don't just come into the game the same as you don't take a test on the weekend and you don't not study. You do the homework throughout the week, you study throughout the week, and then you take the test. But you can't already think about the next test. You see what I'm saying? You can't think about exams at the end of the school year. You've got to pass each week to understand where you'll be for the exam at the end of the school year. And that's the same approach that we're trying to take with this. We're not hiding from our reality. Our reality is our reality, but we're also taking it game by game in every measure that we can.
That was a Feds bring in Janine, Bethany, and some of the other players on this roster who have been to where you went.
Yeah, and I think it's plain and simply, they have international experience, they have in-league experience to understand what that pressure feels like. It's one thing to have gone through pressure type of moments, whether for your national team or your club, right? And to be going through them for your first time. And I think we have very good experienced players that can put an arm around the younger ones and say, this is okay that you feel this way, but this is how you push through it. And this is how you develop as a player. And this is how you understand what pressure is. And I think we have a nice mix within the group.
The players have shown a lot of flexibility in roles. Becky's kind of played both sides on the wing. Is that that flexibility, is that something that you feel like gives you an advantage, makes you difficult to plan for?
Yeah, and I think for us, like very simply, we've honed in on what the structures are. My opinion, you have to have structures to understand what fluidity and creativity looks like. Essentially, now they understand what spots and what pockets need to be filled and who's the closest player to do that and what the players surrounding them would react and how they would react and what spaces they would fill. So I think we've done a lot of attention to detail from who we want to occupy where from a structure perspective, and then you allow the creativity and fluidity to kick in from the personnel. Everybody's a little bit different in how they move. Of course, no player is exactly alike. And I think they're starting to hone in on those movements and build those relationships.
With JV now, do we have any kind of idea when she'll be back, or is it too early to tell at this point?
Which is week by week. There's a specific time frame, but again, when you're working in that specific time frame, could it be earlier? Could it be later? But obviously very hopeful that she recovers well, and quickly, but more importantly, healthy.
To see Beth get breakthrough, and not just get a goal, but get that kind of goal.
Yeah, it's
Fantastic
unbelievable.
header.
Unbelievable.
Is that something where you just felt like it was a matter of time? That's what she had been doing in previous games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's Beth Boler in a nutshell, isn't it? She scores goals that people don't predict you could score. And I think it was an excellent header, as you all have seen, but I also think the way that we did it, both goals were scored in our press, both goals. So I think it's the fashion that we did it in, the securing that first pass in transition, the ability we have on the ball in that moment to Ari's service to Beth, but she has multiple options. She has a runner from deep. And obviously it's a unbelievable header, puts us in a good position. And then again, on the flip side, we go into a pressing moment. We recognize a pressing trigger. Janine's able to step in and capitalizes on her opportunity. So on top of the two goals and the fashion that they're scored in, I'm very, very proud of the team and the way that they did it, which is off of two presses.
How was Kayla helped with that? It's like a late substitute.
Yeah.
You put her up top. She's always been pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
With players. So did she make a difference there late in the game?
Yeah, I think it's very natural for Kayla. Kayla comes in and she's like the fucking, sorry. I do that to you guys every time. Sorry about that. She's the like a Energizer Bunny, isn't she? It's like she just goes. And I think for me, like watching Kayla and watching Kayla's game continue to evolve and the way that she's impacted it and the role that we've asked her to impact it in, I've been incredibly pleased and incredibly excited for what her future looks like.
Last one for Bev.
Sorry for the F-bomb. You knew I had to
No,
drop
you're
one. And you
fine.
kind of-
You're fine.